everyone, it's Sharon and Jamie from Sharonatsea Travel, and we are currently on Holland America's KONINGSDAM, and we are coming to the end of our cruise here. It is the, I guess, last day before we get off tomorrow, and we wanted to talk to you a little bit about some of the things that we liked and disliked about this cruise. That's right, we have some things we really liked, and surprisingly enough, there are a few things we disliked on a Holland America ship. So let's get into it. So first, we're going to roll out the things that we liked on the ship here, and the first one I'm going to talk about is the elevators. That's right, the elevators. And it's not really about elevator etiquette, because the people are pretty good with that, I think.
I think I only had two instances of poor etiquette where someone was rolling into the elevator as the doors opened before we could even step out of it. So keep that in mind for future reference. Elevator etiquette, it's important.
That's right. But the thing I noticed that we really liked was that the elevators weren't crowded. Every time we needed to grab an elevator, we walked out there, pushed the button, it came fairly quickly. There wasn't really anyone on the elevators, maybe a couple people, if that, and we were on our way.
All right, another thing that we really liked was the room service. That's right, the room service. Now, one thing that's cool about it is almost all of it is included in the fare of your cruise. You don't pay extra except for a few things that come from unique specialty type restaurants. Like you can get something from the dive by the pool, or you can get something from a specialty restaurant sent over, and there's going to be an upcharge for that. But almost everything on the room service menu at any time of day you could get at no charge. We took advantage of the breakfast room service a lot. Yeah. They had some great hot meals. You could get like an egg, bacon, sausage, hash brown breakfast sent up, and no charge for it. So that was fantastic. So almost every morning we had room service be our alarm clock.
Your bagel and sandwich.
Oh yeah. They had lots of bagels, and they had all kinds of other stuff. Another cool thing was they didn't miss a beat, so they didn't forget us at all. That's always nice. And they were always probably at least 10 minutes early. So the room service here on Holland America's KONINGSDAM, awesome.
The next thing that we really liked was our cabin. We had a great cabin. It's one of my favorites. But so much storage, so many electrical outlets. There were like 3 on the vanity. There was one on each side of the bed.
That was awesome.
That was awesome. Some other things that had little things that women might appreciate is there was a makeup mirror in the drawer with the hairdryer, which was cool, and the hairdryer didn't plug in to the drawer where you had to hold the thing the whole time like it was a regular hairdryer. I loved that. And in the bathroom, it had some things like a little jar with Q-tips and cotton balls in it. Ooh. And just things that you don't find on cruise ships anymore, like any of those little extra things like that. So I found a lot of these little things just really cool and really enjoyed our cabin. What else did you enjoy about our cabin?
Well, I mean, you mentioned the storage. Now, I know it was a Vista Suite balcony, so maybe it's a little bit of an upgrade versus a regular balcony.
Kind of like the lower end of the
lowest end
status
of the suite status.
Yeah.
But I love a huge television, LED style television built into the walls. I like the setup where we're sitting on a couch right now, and it's a standard couch. It probably pulls out to make into some sort of a small bed, but besides that, there was plenty of room on the counter for us to do any work or to get the laptop out. There's another little table here that we could use, so we were able to put our room service on a little side table that could be moved around the room instead of having to clutter one space. So that was kind of cool. And Sharon mentioned the bathroom. I thought the bathroom was excellent. The shower was fantastic. I love there was little tile flooring instead of just the traditional plastic, that looks like a Walmart kids pool type of plastic. So it was just really, it was a little fancy, a little elegant, and very convenient, and easy to use everything. So I think it worked out great.
Yeah, we loved it.
All right, another thing that we really liked a lot. I don't know if this sounds weird, but if you've ever been on a cruise and you've walked by guest services, especially certain parts of the cruise, you will see a line a mile long. Cranky, pissed off people. I mean, it can be a nightmare for your average newer cruiser that is just waiting in line to ask a question about a bill or a charge or something like that. Well, every time we went by guest services, what was there?
Nobody.
That's right.
Nobody. And the first day, we did have someone tell us that, oh, make sure if you need to go to guest services, wait till the second day because it's always crowded on the first day, they told us. So we walked by on the first day. We didn't really need to go there on that day, but we walked by, and I don't think I saw more than 8-10 people in line tops. I mean, to me, that's like a regular guest service line, pretty much not on embarkation day. So that was awesome. And then today, we actually did need to go to guest services on the day before we get off the ship, debarkation day, and usually there is a huge line of guest services. We were like number 4, I think, in line. There were 3 people in front of us. Nothing. So I don't know if it's just part of the clientele that cruise on Holland America, or they just don't have issues on Holland America where people have to deal with. So.
Well, number one, they had like 5 people behind the counter.
They did.
So that's great. We've seen other times we're on a busy line. There's only like 3 people. Sharon and I were talking, and we were like, listen, either Holland America doesn't make mistakes, or the people cruising Holland America don't care if they make a mistake because no one's in line to get anything fixed. So that was awesome. Guest services, you're doing something right here on this ship.
All right. And the last thing we're going to talk about that we really, really liked, and that was the dancers in the shows in the theater. Now, I'm not going to say all of the shows because there were several there were shows that had dancing, and then there were other shows that were just singing. So they didn't really mix the two together. So the singing shows were they were okay, but they were just, okay. Nothing special about them. But I want to just talk about the dancers. They were phenomenal. So the dancers, you could tell that they were very experienced. They were awesome. They had a couple different shows, and they were totally different types of shows, and they had just the lighting to go with them. The dancers were just so talented, and even Jamie sat through them and thought they were great, and he never really likes to go to those type of shows, and he really found them to be really enjoyable.
Oh my God, if you tell me, hey, we're going to go watch them dance tonight, I'd be like, okay, I'll meet you later, I'll be at the bar or something like that. But I went the first time, and I was like, okay, you've got my attention. I'm impressed. But let's see what the second show had. And we went there a second time, and it was even better. Yeah. The world stage theater that they're in, very unique, amazing digital screens on the walls. It's a circular type of a seating setup, and these guys blew us away. Yeah. I'm not sure we've ever seen the quality of dancer that we saw here on this ship on any other cruise ships.
That's right.
All right, now I know you guys sat through the likes only because you wanted to get to the dislikes. That's the dirt, that's the tease, that's what you're waiting for.
People want the negativity.
I know you want to hear all about what didn't these guys like, because we always like everything, don't we? Okay, here's a few things that we didn't care for, that we did not like on this cruise. We mentioned that we love the cabin, and we even said the bathroom was great, but one thing about the bathroom that neither of us liked, and that's the toilet. The toilet was set up in such a weird way that when you sat on it normally, your knee was pressing into the wall of the shower. For Sharon, a petite female, it was uncomfortable. And for me, a bigger guy, it was downright ridiculous. I almost threw my back out trying to handle my business in there. And it was just a great cabin. Whoever designed the toilet, horrible design, guys. You need to rethink it for the next ship, the next Pinnacle class ship. I'm just saying that's one thing that we didn't like. Maybe it's silly, but it's important to us, and that's the deal.
All right, the second disliked we have for the ship, and that's going to be the activities or maybe lack of activities as well. Limited. For the ship. Yeah, it's very limited. Now, they did have some activities during the day, but they were, I don't know, not geared to us, I guess. So that's why we didn't like them. Like, for instance, they had coloring for adults as an activity. They did have some painting activities where you can do a paint, and that was an upcharge, though.
It's like $25 extra to paint on a canvas and then take it with you. And
maybe
I get the charge, but I don't know, man. Painting's just not our jam.
We thought about it, but it just didn't really mean enough to us to pay that money. But also things like origami, so how to make an origami boat, how to make an origami, like I think today was a frog or something, just different things like that. They did have a couple trivias, but not, they were kind of just odd trivias. Yes. And then in between that, it just really just said, they had little talks at the spa and things like that. So there just wasn't enough activities during the day, I guess I would say, more
or in the evening.
But maybe not even in the evening. Like there were a couple things in the evening to choose from, but I would say there was literally 2. You either go to the show or the music walk, or both.
Yeah.
You know, you can do both actually in a night.
Where's the deck party?
But that was
No deck parties.
that was the limit of activities on the ship. So for some people that might be great, but it was just a little lacking for us. The next one that we did not care for, and you're going to be surprised by this one, I think.
Yes.
Is the bars and the coffee cafe, you know, the cafe where they have actually coffee and alcoholic drinks. So the one thing about this cruise or this ship, all the bars are basically the same. I mean, they're called something else in different locations. The decor is a little different, but they're all basically the same, have the same drinks there. You can order the same drinks. There's no specialty bars, such as like on other cruise lines, they may have an alchemy bar or a whiskey bar, or just, you know, whatever the case is.
There's no martini bar. There's
Yeah.
not a specialty rum type of a bar or something like that. And
They're
for
all
me, they
the
were all
same.
very generic. The same booze, the same drinks, almost the same menu for everything. Maybe a slight variation on what they called something, but
And
it
the
was just a
coffee.
little.
Yeah, and another issue was the coffee selections at the cafe there. So they only had like just regular coffee Americano. I think they had.
Yeah,
What
it was
else
like an
it?
espresso, cappuccino, and a latte.
Yeah. So only 3 options, no really flavored or different coffee drinks for being sort of like a coffee bar type place there. And like I said, all the bars were the same.
It was a little bit odd because, I mean, I had a cocktail at a number of the bars, right? I mean, you know me, you know I go out and have a couple of drinks. And I was at one bar and there was one guy that was friendly, but everyone else there was like, "Hi, what can I get you?" And, but there was no acknowledgement like, "Hi, I'll be right with you. Hey, I'll be right over in a minute." The 2 bars in the pool area were the only other places I caught a smile from a bartender. 2 or 3 other bars, they would just say, they would almost just look at you like, "What are you going to order?" For a ship where probably a cocktail is a big focus for a lot of folks, the bars were a little underwhelming.
And the 4th thing that we disliked, or I may have disliked it more because I experienced it more, I think, than Jamie did, but that was in the buffet. So they are still serving people. They serve people. You don't really have any too much hands-on to serve yourself except for a couple things. So when they serve you, one thing that they do not usually give you unless you ask for is butter. Or even like for breakfast, you want syrup or things on your pancakes, French toast, whatever. It's all behind the counter there, so they ask you if you want that on there. Like when I had my French toast this morning, I asked they were going to just put syrup on it and hand it to me, and I said, "Oh, can I have some butter?" So they put a little bit of butter in the middle, and then they started pouring syrup all over it and handed it to me. Well, by the time I found a table, because it takes a little while to find a table in the buffet sometimes, sat down, everything, the middle of my French toast was just like melted butter in the middle with syrup. It was like a soggy mess.
It was mush.
It was not edible, really. But yeah, so just things like that. Like I wish that they would have maybe little containers they could put it in and hand it to you on the side if you know, in the buffet area, versus putting everything on for you, or even setting a few things out for you to do yourself. But so I had an issue with that. So that was something I highly disliked because I like to put things on my own food, the amounts and when I want to. So that's just me. Anyways.
Make the condiments accessible for people so that we don't have to jump through hoops to get it,
Yeah.
I guess is the bottom line.
Right.
All right, so one of the last dislikes, and this is probably a little more me, and I don't know how much you felt about it, Sharon, but, you know, for a cruise line that's supposed to be known for the exquisite food and the dining experience here, I felt that the selections were a little limited, and the hours of operation were a little limited as well. So let me give you an example. So, you know, by the Lido pool, I loved the New York deli and pizza. That was great. No complaints out of that. The timing was great. All the food was very good that we had.
That was probably one of our favorites.
Yes. The dive-in burger place, similar to something from another cruise line, only open till 6 for burgers and stuff like that. Okay, I get it. So when it came to dinner time, you really only have the buffet. Okay, and the buffet, although it was good, was exactly the same. Not exactly the same, but almost exactly the same every night.
Yeah.
Okay, and then they would have a dinner, you know, in the main dining room, or you had a couple specialty restaurants you could choose. But my biggest issue was stuff like at lunch. During lunch, you could go and eat in the main dining room, but it was open from 12 to 1. I mean, that's 12 to 1. who's going to wait all morning and just get there at exactly 12 and have it open 12 to 1? And the same, and that dining room is the same thing for breakfast. It was only open for an hour, and it was just very odd hours of operation and availability. And that was something that I thought was weird. You know, and the buffet didn't really start up until, it was like, I think it was about noon when the buffet would start, and by about 2 o'clock they're shutting it down. So maybe they're used to folks that are on a little more of a rigorous schedule as far as like early breakfast, exact midday lunch, dinner, boom, done. But I just thought it was a little odd. And once dinner was done, the only place you were getting anything to eat was going to be that New York Deli pizzeria place. And again, great selection, but that's all. That's the only thing they had available. So maybe it sounds weird, but we were expecting so much from the dining, and everything was good, but I don't know. It just, I felt like when we were ready to eat, I felt like options were limited, and things were very repetitive, and even like in the MDR, just everything was good, but nothing blew me away from like, ooh, I gotta try that.
The presentation was awesome, but you know, the taste and everything was good, but just it was good. It wasn't, like Jamie said, it didn't really blow you away.
Kind of the same with the service.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, some of the friendlier people were in the buffet. In the MDR, everyone was all business, and that's okay. But we like a little more engagement, a little fun. So that's the deal. So I don't know. Maybe that sounds weird. I don't know if we're getting our point across, but just not blown away by the dining experience that is kind of supposed to be one of the key ingredients to an amazing Holland America cruise. So that's all we're saying. That's all we're saying. All right, now we're going to hit you with one extra thing. We did 5 likes. We did 5 dislikes. But there's one thing that might be one of the most important things that Holland America offers that everyone talks about. And Sharon and I differed a little bit as far as our opinion goes. And you might be a little bit surprised by it.
Yeah, and that is the music walk. So that's something that people talk a lot about. It's one of the highlights of the evening on the ship here. Besides the shows, like I mentioned, that is the only other thing big thing to do. And that is, there's 3 areas. There is the rock room, which is they play rock band music in there.
Yeah, Rolling Stone rock room.
Yep. Right across the way from that is the billboards. I think it's billboards room or billboards, and that is like dueling piano bar. It's a dueling piano bar. It's not quite as it's a little more mellow than what you would know as a piano bar and some of the other.
A little more musical
lines.
And not as much comedy and that kind of stuff.
It's quite a large room too. And then there is B.B. King's, which is supposed to be a little more, I guess, blues type music. Although they play a wide range of music, not just blues. But I really enjoyed it, and I thought it was a great thing that kind of brought in all ages to this ship, I guess you might say.
So Sharon, if you're saying that you liked the rock walk experience and the music, are you saying that me, the rock and roll guy here, didn't really care for it? That's exactly what she's saying, guys. This might blow you away, and this might be the biggest shock of the video if you got this far. And by the way, if you did get this far, make sure you subscribe before you get out of here. Do us a favor, hit the thumbs up if you like the content in the video, and make sure to hit the notification bell so that you never miss new stuff coming out, content, Sharon's Amazon stuff, food stuff, cruise, travel, whatever. Make sure that you always check it out. But getting back to the topic here. So as far as I'm concerned with the rock walk, number one, I'm not a big piano guy. Okay, I don't go to the piano bars on any other ships. Ooh. I know there's a lot of great music out there that's played with piano, but I don't want every song to be played for 45 minutes on a piano. I don't need great songs to be converted to just 1 or 2 pianos to play, and that's just my opinion. I'm not a fan of the piano music at all. Okay, so that didn't do anything for me.
Let me add one thing. Now, the piano bar on this ship was, like I said, not a typical piano bar. Usually they play songs, they make some jokes and different things to go along with the music.
Yes.
Here, they strictly just play the piano.
Much more musical.
Yeah, it wasn't really like you would think of as a regular piano
They were
bar.
talented. Don't get me wrong. Piano music is not my jam. Now, then the Rolling Stone rock room, I liked that. I liked it a lot. But who designed this room? There are 2 huge posts. I'm sure it's for just support for the ship, but in front of the stage, 2 huge posts. Anywhere you sit in that room, I'm not sure there's an exception, you're going to be having a pole, and I'm talking about a pole that's this big, blocking your view. I sat at the bar with what should have been the perfect view of the stage, and I literally could not see the keyboard gal, who was one of the main singers of the entire show. That I wasn't a fan of. And the B.B. King, the people playing the music at B.B. King's were talented. But man, every time I went by there, the only thing I heard was piercing sounds of trumpets. It was just, it almost sounded like the same music over and over again, and just piercing sounds of trumpets. So I was not a fan of it. Listen, call me an old-fashioned guy, but give me a great guitar player with a good singer, or a singer-guitar player combo, or give me the violinist to mix it up with some different music. Give me something mellow to have a drink with, to talk to my wife with, and have some nice music playing in the background. And I didn't find that anywhere on this ship. Again, the band in Rolling Stone, I dug them. They had some good tunes, but the setup of the place was horrible, where you couldn't see the stage properly.
I will agree with you on that.
And the other two, I was a little like, I don't know, it just was, I had heard all about it, I was excited about it, and it just didn't tickle my feathers. Alright, now remember, the views that you heard here are just ours, okay? We really enjoyed our Holland America Cruise, but we wanted to point out a few things that we liked and we disliked. If you want to bash us in the comments for what we said, go right ahead. We get it, everyone has their own opinion. Feel free to share yours. Just know that mine is probably the correct one. Just kidding about that. But anyway, so Sharon, take us out.
This is our first Holland America Cruise, so this is our take on our very first one. We've been on 3 other cruise lines, several times on a few, many times on another one. So what are your guys' thoughts out there on if you've been on Holland America before? Do you
let us know in the comments.
Of us, disagree? Let us know. So,
people are going to bash me for my take on the Rock Walk. I know it, but hey, what can I tell you? That's just how I felt. So,
well, thanks for watching, guys, and until next time, we'll see you in the next video.